Hey guys, Gary J here, and today I want to show you something about the four-wheel drive system on the JK series Jeep here. A lot of people buy Jeeps, but they don't really know how to use the four-wheel drive system. It's something you have to learn. But you got two shifters here. This is for your automatic transmission right here, as you can tell. You've got park, reverse, neutral, and drive. Okay. Over here is your other shifter. That's your transfer case to go into four-wheel drive. Okay. So, one of the things about this shifter here in the Rubicon is a select shifter too, which means if you put it in drive, and this is drive right here. So, you can manually change gears. This is a 5-speed transmission, 5-speed. You take off in first gear, you push this all the way to the right, okay? And I'll show you what happens when you do that. Right here on the speed arm, you see park, reverse, neutral, and drive, right? And if I push it, the automatic transmission shifter, if I push it to the right, you're going to see first gear come up. Okay, that's first gear. Now, if I push it again, that's second gear. I don't know if it'll go in the third gear, but push it again, that's as far as it goes. But all I'm doing here is pushing it. If it's in drive, you push it to the right, that's first gear. Again, that second gear. As you get moving, it will allow you to push it again. That'll give you third gear on the dash. Push it again, it'll give you fourth gear. And again, that'll give you fifth gear. Okay. Now you're in fifth gear. If you want to slow down to fourth, push it to the left to go to fourth gear. Again for third gear. Now you don't want to be doing 50 miles an hour and try to put it in first gear by doing this, okay? It does have a fail-safe somewhat so that if you don't change the gear properly, it'll automatically do it once it hits a certain RPM, okay? But this is really a nice feature where you have automatic transmission plus you can select your gears 1 through 5 too. Let's say you're in fourth gear, but you really want to be in automatic drive. You just push it and hold it for about 3 seconds. And if you look over here, it's in drive. Now I'm gonna push it to the right. That's first. Again, that's second. That's as high as it'll let me go, sitting still. But if I want to go in drive, I'm gonna push it to the right and just hold it. So it goes back into automatic to drive, okay? Now, I'll push it to the right again. That gives me first. Push it to the right again. That gives me second. But if I want to go to first gear, I got to push it to the left. And I'm back to first. So you can kind of gear up and gear down that way. But the way you should drive it probably is to learn what speeds the transmission shift normally, okay, because you don't want to over rev it. Now, with your transfer case, that's what sends all the power to your wheels, okay. Now, in order to, if you want to pull this down to two-wheel high gear, you can do that at any time. Go to two-wheel high. So this is your transfer case shifter here. We have it in drive here. If you come across, if you're going 50 miles an hour, 55 miles an hour, and you come across mud or sleet or the road is slippery, you pull it toward you one time, just one notch right here, and that's four-wheel high. That means 50% of the engine's power, torque, will go to the rear wheels and 50% will go to the front wheels. Okay, so now you're in 4-wheel high. But if the pavement becomes dry again, then you definitely want to take it out of 4-wheel high. You do not want to drive around in 4-wheel high on dry pavement where you got good traction. Do not drive around in 4-wheel high on dry pavement. You're going to wear out. You're going to mess up the drivetrain eventually doing that. So only put it in 4-wheel high if the road is a little bit slippery, where the tires can turn independently of each other. Otherwise, you're going to be kind of putting a lot of stress on the drivetrain. Okay, you don't want to tap your drivetrain. It's very expensive. Okay, so 2-wheel high is 99% of the time on dry highways. 4-wheel high only when you get into ice, snow, mud, dirt, or something where the vehicle is not stable. Now you have neutral too. You can go into neutral and put your transmission here in the neutral here, and this goes into neutral here. Okay. Now one thing about 4-wheel high up here is that you can put it in 4-wheel high at a dead stop. Put it in 4-wheel high, that'll give you power going to all 4 wheels from a dead stop, or anywhere from 0 to 55 miles per hour. I would not be going over 55 miles per hour if I was going to put it into 4-wheel high. You shouldn't be going that fast if the road's slippery anyway, right? So if you want to go into 4-wheel low, all the way down here, it's going to have to be in neutral. But your vehicle needs to be moving about 2 or 3 miles per hour. So how do you do that? You have to put it in drive and let it start moving, and then throw it in neutral, and then pull your shifter back here while it's still moving. Okay, so if it's not moving, it will not go into 4-wheel drive low very easily. And you do not want to pull on it. There's a plastic part in here that can break. So always be moving 2 or 3 miles per hour. Just put it in drive, then throw it neutral and wait till it slows down. You know, make sure you're going under 3 miles per hour, and then just pull it all the way back down, and you're in 4-wheel low. Okay. So that's how you get it in 4-wheel low. Now, 50% of the power from the engine should go to the rear wheels, and 50% should go to the front wheels. When you're in 4-wheel low, you do not want to go over probably 18 miles per hour at the most. I wouldn't really want to go over probably 12 miles per hour in 4-wheel low. All right. So that's basically how that works. And we are in neutral. We put it in drive right here. You can feel a big difference. It'll start pulling. And that's 4-wheel low. It's in 4-wheel drive here. And we look at the dash right here. You can see in the center 4-wheel drive. Okay, I got the door open because it's warm. Okay, so we have the transmission in park. We have this in 4-wheel drive low. Okay, you don't want to exceed probably 18 miles per hour in 4-wheel drive low. Do not go faster than that. Okay. So this is good, you know, for creeping over rocks and going up treacherous roads and snow and mud and stuff like that, you know. But a thing to remember is that with the Rubicon, if you feel like you're getting stuck or whatever, because it, even in 4-wheel drive low, it's not going to make all the wheels turn at the same time. One tire may come up off the ground, that's going to spin, but the one on the ground may not spin. And you say, well, I want the one on the ground spinning instead of the one up in the air, which that makes sense. But this is an open differential system, so that's what happens. It does have a braking system that kicks in that tries to brake that wheel that's spinning and throw the torque to the other wheel, but maybe 50% of the time that works, and that's where the beauty of the Rubicon comes in, over here. Now see, this is the dash, and right over here underneath the vent are 2 buttons here. Now, if you're on a really bad road, like climbing hills and all that stuff, you want to press this button to disengage the sway bar. That allows the tires to go down, okay? The sway bar kind of holds them at a certain level, but when you disengage this, they're able to go down, you know, and grab the ground better, okay? So that's the touch of a button, and that works really well. Over here, you have the axle lock. Now what axle lock does, you press the button on the bottom here one time, and I'll show you on the dash what it's doing. I'm gonna press it now. You see where it says rear and it's got a lock right there? That lock lets you know that that rear wheel is locked right now. Sometimes when you press that button, it will be blinking. When it's blinking, then that means it's trying to lock. And you can move your vehicle forward just a little bit, 1 mile an hour, 2 miles, and those gears will mesh together and it will lock, and then your light will stay on instead of blinking. If it's blinking, it's not locked yet. So just move the vehicle just 1 mile per hour, 2 miles per hour, and it'll lock, the gears will mesh. So again, if I press this button a second time, that's the rear wheel. If I press it a second time like now this is the front axle locked. So now both my axles are locked, the front and the rear. That means that all 4 tires are going to spin at the same speed. There's not going to be any slippage like regular 4-wheel drive. All 4 tires will spin at the same time. 50% of your power from your engine is going to the rear wheel, and 50% of the power is going to the front wheel. The Rubicon is the only one that has a 4-to-1 ratio. That means the torque that comes from your engine is multiplied 4 times to the wheels of your vehicle, and it's divided up between the front and the rear. It's 4 times. Sahara, Sports, and all the others are about 2.3 times on the multiplying of the torque of the engine, 2.3. So you probably don't need to be going more than 10 miles per hour at the most with these locked on, and it will affect your steering. When you start to steer, it's going to be harder to steer because all 4 wheels are turning at the same time. In order for you to turn right or left, one wheel has to give and turn more than the other, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to steer when you're doing this, okay? But if you're on dirt and gravel, never do this on dry pavement. Never do it on dry pavement. But if you're on dirt, snow, whatever, it won't hurt the drivetrain system. If you want to turn this off right here, then go back to your axle button and press it up at the top. Okay? So it's pressed at the top, and that disconnects it there. Now if it's blinking at the top, they're not going off, then you need to move about 1 or 2 miles per hour and let it disengage. Back to the sway bar disconnect. When we press this, we see the light come on right here, and the light is blinking right here, letting you know that it's trying to engage. I'm going to put it in drive right here. Just let it coast a little bit. So now when the light is blinking on the sway bar, that means it's not completely connected, okay? So you let your vehicle roll forward or backwards, and it will disconnect, and the light will stay on steady. The icon to the left of sway bar there is your traction control. You do not want traction control on your vehicle when you're trying to go up hills or mud or snow. Why? Because it senses the wheels when they start to spin, so it slows the engine down. It has a braking system to it, okay? So that's not going to help you get out of a rut. So that's just going to be detrimental to trying to get out of a rut, okay? So that's one of the great things that make the Rubicon what it is. Press this button right here again, and we'll look right here. And the sway bar is blinking. After pressing it, I'm going to put it in gear and move very slowly. It's in drive, and now the sway bar light has gone out, so that's disconnected. You do not want to drive faster than 18 miles per hour with the sway bar disconnected. You never want to take it on the highway with the sway bar disconnected. It can cause the front end to be unstable and cause you a lot of grief. Okay.